Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, NXT, we have entered the aftermath from No Mercy. As you know, well, a lot of things have taken place. But however, how do we move forward? As you know, Ethan Page decided to retain the belt, but however, Trick Williams is determined to regain it back, despite the fact that he has an obstacle in his way, or should I say two. Ethan Page refuses to give him back give him a rematch clause, and Pete Dunne, who had enough of hearing him, how he's going to get his belt back. So basically, that's going on. We do have a #1 contendership for the NXT Tag Team titles. Who's going to walk out to face Axiom and Nathan Frazier, and we got tons of things that are taking place. But first things first, All Japan Pro Wrestling continues with their Summer Action Wars. This one features many matches. Of course, we have some championship matches. Among them is the main event between, of course, Yuma Aoyagi and Kento Miyahara. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, we kept up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can put it on a separate video by itself or on the next episode. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside. It's time to hit the highway. And now let's begin with our very first review, and that is All Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, All Japan Pro Wrestling, we continue with more of Summer Action Wars. Now, I don't know what day it is, but I mean, like, day 1, day 2, that sort of thing. But this took place recently, early this month, this past Sunday, September 1st. Now, our opening match is for the All Asia Tag Team titles. We have the challengers, Fuminori Abes and Seigyo Tachibana, taking on Seki Yoshioka and Musashi. So, basically, this is a very interesting match, not to mention nothing too significant about it. But, however, of course, drawback if Tachibana and Abe pick up the win, they become champions. But however, that did not come into fruition because it was in fact Musashi who picked up the win when he applied a driver to Fumi or Abe, and just like that, they retained the belts. Now our next match, we have Shotaro Ashino teaming up with Kudoshio, Tokyo, Japan, or as you all know him, Ikemen. That's right. So they face against Hartley Jackson and Jack Kennedy. Nothing too significant about this match, but however, it does shows like, okay, we're seeing, as you know, Hartley Jackson and Jack Kennedy, they have been teaming up with Ikudo Omori, known as Omori-gun. So basically, that's the whole point. But nothing significant about this. But however, it was Ashino that picked up the win when he applied a leg lock, and of course, forcing Jack Kennedy to tap. Now, our next match, we have the members of Omori-gun, the leader, Kudo Omori, Kuma Asashi, no, I don't know, Kuma Arashai, and then, of course, Cyrus. And their next opponents is Yuko Miyamoto, Hikaru Sato, and Hideki Suzuki. Now, what's interesting about this is this. Originally, Suwama was supposed to be in this match, but due to the circumstances of his dizziness and other symptoms, he was forced to step down from it and just let them just try to deal with it. He was going to be out for a lot of time. But what's surprising is what the commentators had a reaction. Suwama's theme song was being played. Like, wait a minute, he's not supposed to be here. But I feel like this is the way for, of course, Sato and Suzuki are trying to find a way to bring the spirit of Suwama with them. And I think it was a very helpful thing, in my opinion. But however, Suzuki, who was first had this like enemy turned friend type of scenario with Suwama, basically he used the backdrop driver onto Omori, and just like that, it picked up the win. So nonetheless, nothing too significant, but I have to say, I like how they decided to use the theme for Suwama, feeling like he's still there with them, and I thought it was a very touching thing from them. Our next match, we have the faction known as Elpida, consisting of Yuma Anzai, the former Triple Crown champion, Rising Hayato. They take on Dan Tamura and Davey Boy Smith Jr. Yes, guys, the same Davey Boy Smith Jr., Harry Smith, cousin to Natalia, member of the Hart family. So yes, so it's the same guy. So it was a pretty good match, not gonna lie. I mean, I did like how Davey is, how do I say, doing great for himself. Many of you probably would ask me how come he's not in New Japan, which he's been known for. Well, in the past, New Japan will never look at him as a singles competitor. They will just consider him as a tag team competitor. That's something he does not want to be remembered. But, however, he's been doing good. But unfortunately, in this match, it was Anzai who picked up the win when he pinned Tamura, and just like that. But we'll see what happens. We know that Elpida are trying to regain more momentum after Anzai lost the Triple Crown title to Yuma Aoyagi. Now, our next match is another championship match. This is for the All Japan Pro Wrestling World Junior Heavyweight Championship. Ryu Ano challenged Narikudoi for this match. And of course, this was going to happen, and it was pretty good. I have to say, Inoue, I felt like he had the momentum, he had what he needed to do, but unfortunately, it did not do any well for him, because it was, in fact, a somewhat of a Claymore type move by Narikudoi to finish off Inoue, and just like that, it was over. However, a challenger just stepped up, and that is, of course, a former champion from this belt, Hikaru Sato. So he stepped up that he was going to challenge him. Don't know when, but we will see when that happens. Now, our next match is for the All Japan Pro Wrestling World Tag Team titles. We have the members of Elpida, consisting of Ruki Honda and Ren Ayabe. They take on the Saito brothers, Jun and Ri Saito. So I thought it was a very interesting thing. I mean, the Saito brothers are consistent, very strong competitors. One of the strongest tag team champions we've seen. I mean, you can say they have always been known to do that, but we've seen them. They have done great momentum as singles competitor as well. But it was Jun who picked up the win when he pinned Honda, and just like that, it was over. Now for our Triple Crown Championship match, we have Kento Miyahara, who used to be a Triple Crown champion. Now he faces against someone he has teamed up in and faced off on many occasions, Yuma Aoyagi. So Kento is trying to regain his top spot, but he has to go against a guy who's been at the top spot before. And I thought it was a very interesting match, but however, it was Oyagi who picked up the win with a suplex that allowed him to retain the belt. He did put out a promo at the post-match, but no one issued a challenge. But it's only a matter of time until someone does. So I think we are done with All Japan. Right now, let's move on with NXT. Okay, NXT. Now, as you all know, we entered the aftermath after No Mercy. Now, we begin with, of course, Trick Williams doing a promo, then Ethan Page shows up. Now, it's no secret that Trick Williams is determined to get back the NXT title that he did not lose completely because he was not the one pinned. But Ethan Page has been trying to make things difficult for him in order to reach that goal. And, of course, he's been dealing with Pete Dunne, who got tired of him hearing all this nonsense. Like what he needs to do. So basically he tried to shut him up, and then when he thought he was done with them, things are being escalated. So later on it was foretold there was going to be a #1 contender who was going to walk out. Now we also see Jada Parker making her way, as you know, dealing with the fatal influence, trying to make fun of her after losing the NXT title to, well, losing the opportunity to win the NXT title to Roxanne Perez. But of course she will tangle with Jasmine Nix, because as you know, Fatal Influence feel that people like Jada Parker, who are not originally wrestlers, who in fact are trained like of course Daisy Jane and Fallon Henley, are the ones who are taking the opportunities away. So we'll get to that. Now, our #1 contendership for the NXT tag team titles, we have the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz versus who I put? Oh yeah, it's the Gallows Boys, Mark Coffey and Wolfgang, and then of course Hank and Tank. Now, things seemed like everything was normal, but at some point, because Gallows is there, we all know there's only one X factor in their corner, was Joe Coffey, but Joe Coffey was intercepted by, of course, Yvonne Evans. Tank and Hank once again jumped into a rivalry with the OCs. You guys remember they wrecked a little barbecue not too long ago. But of course this match ended with, of course, the Rascals, most specifically Trey Miguel, pinning Tank, and just like that they become the #1 contenders. However, they are, of course, the current champions saw this, and then of course the Rascals confronted them, but not in a bad way, more like trying to put them on notice. So we'll see where that goes from there. Once again, Lexis King with his usual shenanigans. He gets in, as you know, he likes to rub people the wrong way, especially when he thinks that he's above everything. And in this time, he got into, of course, Matt Ford's lives, especially Ora Mensa, talk about his past. And then, of course, he decided to step over lines, saying about his dad that he was stupid, that he should have done this. Ora Mensa completely lost it, but because of that, it did allow for, of course, Lexis King to pin him by using his feet on the rope to cheat. But sooner or later, Ora Mensa will get his revenge against them. So this is something we definitely will see. Now, throughout the entirety, we did see, of course, we saw interviews between both Trick and Pete. Things don't go well, but we'll get to that in a bit. Now, we do see, of course, the D'Angelo family confronted by Oba Femi. As you know, Oba Femi was successful in defeating the Don of NXT, Tony D'Angelo, so that kind of sets it up. But we did see Stax will be facing him, so we'll be watching that very closely. Now, Tatum Paxley, as you know, this past Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, at No Mercy, we saw her, she choke out Wendy Chu, because we saw that Wendy Chu did the same thing to her. But Wendy brought a friend with her, and of course that friend is none other than Rosemary. And of course, Tatum Paxley walked out as the victor with the Psycho Trap, but unfortunately it became a 2-1-1 scenario. But to our surprise, we saw the return of Lyra Valkyria, who's been at the main roster for quite some time. But it seems like later on we did see that they are amending their relationship as friends. So can't wait to see how that's gonna go on. So we'll see where that goes. Now, as you know, no quarter catch crew were minding their own business until they somehow got caught in the whole pissy mode by Gallus after Mark and Wolf felt that Javon Evans crossed the line once again. But however, of course, Ren Sinclair never shuts up. So I have to say Charlie Dempsey tries to reason with her, but we'll see where that goes. Now, we did see a very interesting video coming from Jordan Grace. Apparently, as you know, NXT will be making their debut real soon to the CW. So first order of business is she revealed that she's going to put the NXT Championship on the line at that very specific day. So she'll put an open challenge to whoever steps up. So basically the invitation has been set out. But I think many of you are going to question who will be the lucky recipient. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, because of the situation that's going on, this was supposed to be the main event. General Manager Ava had no other choice but to push the #1 contendership for the NXT title between both Dunn and Williams. Well, the match was kind of crazy, and it was exactly what we expect from two guys that hate each other. But unfortunately, because they were going way off topic, the match went into a double countout. Of course, you can hear the fans were saying, this ref sucks or something like that, but it was later foretold that they will have to give another opportunity for another #1 contender. But I think this one is more of a last man standing match, so I think we're going to see that. Now, we all saw what happened with Chase U, Rich Holland. He gave his reasons what happened, as you know, because he felt that Chase U has failed him after losing the NXT Tag Team titles. He explains on certain circumstances with Riley Osborne, Duke Hudson, Mr. Chase, all of that. And of course, he did call out Duke Hudson. And of course, he said that he's going to do something to Thea. But of course, I know everybody from Chase U are going to try to support Thea, knowing that she's been hurt once again. So that's the last thing we see. Now, we did see Joe Coffey taking on, of course, Javon Evans. Well, of course, we're going to have the numbers game once again, but Cedric Alexander was there to help him out. Javon Evans picked up the win. So this became a bad night towards Gallus. So basically, they lost 2 matches. So we'll see where that goes on. Now, Brooks Jensen, as you know, has been talking, hanging out with, of course, Sean Spears. Now, Spears says that he was thankful for what he did to, of course, Malik Blade and Edris Enofe for, attacking him. But later, Dion Lennox told him that he's been manipulating him. Basically, tried to do that whole Sith Lord type of thing. So basically, Dion Lennox was not trying to say, you need to end things with him. He's telling him exactly what he sees. He's saying he's doing this to you. So we'll see where that goes. Now, Oba Femi faces Stax. Of course, Stax, he might have put up a good fight against Oba Femi, but Oba Femi is one of the most strongest and powerful individuals. Of course, Don had to watch the underboss get his butt kicked when Oba applied the pop-pop powerbomb, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, Carly Bright and Carmen Petrovic were talking. Of course, they were concerned over the fact of Malik Blade and Edris Enofe. So basically, there's that. And then Ashante tried to be all this and that until Eddie Thorpe intervened and tried to, shame him for the kind of person he is. So we'll see where that goes between those two. Our next match, we have Jasmine Nix taking on Jada Parker. Now, you would assume that because Fatal Influence will try to get involved. Well, however, that did not work in their favor because it was Jada Parker who picked up the win with the hip attack. But however, right after the match, it became a 3-on-1 beatdown. So that pretty much it. However, before the night over, we did see, of course, almost the entire women's locker room in the NXT brand are waiting to hope they see Giulia. But however, of course, Fatal Influence thinks that they're above that. But however, I wouldn't be surprised because surprised if they call, of course, Giulia a rookie or something. But if I was them, don't mess with Giulia. But Roxanne Perez, of course, tells Jada Parker, she gives her credit, but of course telling her that she was not good enough to take this title, and she said that nobody can defeat her. But however, we all expected Giulia to show up, but no. Chelsea Green show up to try to get her moment, but unfortunately Giulia showed up, and then she gave her a big strong forearm, then a kick. But Giulia said only a few words: you, me, CW. Just like that. Basically, there's that. So the real question we ask ourselves, should Roxanne Perez be concerned? If I were her, yes, because Giulia, she is no joke. She can say she's the best woman ever, but has she ever faced anybody like her? Well, that is a good question. But we will talk more about that at some point. But for now, we'll just end things right here and move on with news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with, of course, with upcoming events from the promotions. Now, first things first, we have the GCW updates. As you know, for the 14th of September in Detroit for Bad One, Miedo Extremo will be addressing his future in GCW. So recently I learned that he betrayed his own cousin, Ciclope. We don't know why, but we'll see what happens until then. Now, the following day, on September 15 in Rochester, New York, they'll have G-Code. They announce for Zilla Fatu versus Gringo Loco. And then on the 20th of September in Philly, for Aura, Brooke Havoc will be in action to take on Tasha Steelz. Another show has been announced, Blood on the Hills 3 on October 19th in LA at the UCC. And then, of course, NGI, or the Nick Gage Invitational 9, will return, and not to mention it will take place on the 16th of November in Orlando. Now, no announcements who will be participating on that, but we will wait and see. Now, we got two updates coming from West Coast Pro. As you all know, we have to Bring on the Pain in Irvine on September 14th. Amira will be in action to take on Vert Vixen. And then, of course, that thing that should not be on the 11th of October, Princess Azul will be making her debut. Now, as you all know, Pro Wrestling Noah will be doing a couple of UK tours. They announced that on the 8th of September, the GHC Heavyweight Championship will be defended. So Kiyomiya defends the belt against Ricky Knight Jr., the nephew of Saraya and Zack Knight. So basically, that's going to happen right there. And then, of course, we have DEFY Wrestling. It's back. They'll have their next upcoming event later on this month on the 20th called By Design. A couple of matches have been announced. Matt Vandegrift facing off against Jordan Oasis, who is making his debut. Man Like the Reese takes on Leon Slater. Vert Vixen takes on Viperous. And, of course, the DEFY World Championship is defended. Kenta defends the belt against Artemis Pyle, who's a former champion himself. And, of course, we have Roseland, which is the collaboration between West Coast Pro, Deadlock Pro, and Prestige. Jordan Grace will face Amira. And then finally, RevPro for the Global Wars UK taking place on the 19th of October. Our newly crowned champion, Mina Shirakawa, who will defend the undisputed British Women's Championship. It's still unclear who, but we will see who will step up. Now, for some developments. Now, those who know this, Chalco Pro will release the upcoming event called For the Future in Corkin Hall. This is their first show ever they did in Corkin Hall in many years. However, the show has not been broadcast yet. It will be displayed on YouTube on the 6th of September, and I can't wait to see it, so I'll be doing a review. Now, let's jump into some other things. Now, certain people have talked about recently about Giulia, now that she's in WWE, so this is something I think many of you may want to hear about, so let me pull up what I do know about that. Okay. This is what Dave Meltzer said about Giulia. Will likely have to modify her hard-hitting in the ring style in following her debut in No Mercy. Julia's going to be a real interesting. She is got great presence. The crowd react real big to her. I know people in the company who were just very impressed will with her presence, because all she really did is come out and put people already knew who she was. All her stuff she did in Stardom and Mighty Gold every involved very, very hard hitting, very, very, very hard kicking. I suspect that she will make it. She seems to have a great attitude from everything I see and hear, but it's different. She's going to have to modify herself. It's going to be a challenge for her to modify her style, but still maintain the idea of having a great match. I mean, I have to agree with Dave Meltzer. I mean, as much as I want to see her do the same old thing that she does, but that is most likely could happen. But we'll see where that leads. Now, Sarray has talked about her debut, as you know. This is what she said. I was deeply moved to see Giulia, who I fought in the same ring until recently, now exciting a large venue across the ocean. I'm rooting for you. Practice can be tough. You may feel lonely. If you ever feel lonely, please contact me anytime. And of course, Meiko Satomura talked about her too. This is what she said. She's really cool. After all, people who admired their peers will rise to the top. And of course, she continues on about, can Giulia reach the top? At the training center, all wrestlers' weight training numbers are lined up, and there are plenty of replacements. So it's a competitive world where you constantly being compared. But I have no doubt that Giulia is a wrestler who is definitely reached the top there. So I hope she will use what she has learned in Japan as a motivation to do her best. And then of course she talked about beating Roxanne Perez. I want Giulia to beat that the opponent I was unable to beat last time. Where'd that belt? Well, that's pretty awesome. Now, Nigel McGuinness, I knew this scumbag was going to not be happy the fact that Bryan Danielson became the AEW World Champion. And this is what he said, because he's envious. It's going to come. Someone is going to beat him for that title, and you will go quietly into the night and will never see crying Bryan again. But I will forever make sure no one forgets him, because every week I am going to bury him on commentary as he is still wrestling. So, and he also continues, and he also asked about his moment in All In, and many of you saw that. He talked about Bryan recently had on the line because our history. There is so much emotion tied up in that match with him. Zack Sabre Jr. would be a dream match. Adam Copeland, and he's got another one, those Broken Bones. There are so many great talents. Lee Murray has been gracious enough to get in the ring with me before shows and Collision, and that's helped me the great idea. So all these interviews about that was on Uproar. Now, Ricochet recently just talked about why he decided to go to the AEW. When AEW wrestlers get an opportunity to portray something to be specific fans, they get to do it the way they think would be best. I want to have that freedom for Ricochet to really sour like I know he can. The fire was kindling. It is always there. That I love professional wrestling. I love for the love for the sport. My gas can was empty. The fire was there, but needed some gas throwing on it to ignite it again. Really get it started. That's what I wanted. Where would we make it feel most? I know AEW is going to light up the fire under me. Yep, that's pretty much it. Now, as you all know, every year after the 5-Star Grand Prix, they do some award ceremony. A couple of things have been announced involving. They will do this, I believe, on September 8th in Corkin Hall, and that's this weekend. This is what we have. The winner is for the Skilled Award, Starlight Kid. Fighting Spirit Award, Azumi. Special Achievement Award, Hana. Now, here's the Best Matches Awards. For the Red Star A block, Maika versus Azuki. For the Red Star B block, Mayu Iwatani versus Momo Watanabe. For the Blue Star A block, Sayuri Inoue and Starlight Kid versus Starlight Kid. And as for the Blue Star B block, Suzuki versus Tekla. So these awards will take place. So I can't wait to see what it's going to take in. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Coming up, I decided I'm just going to do a one review only. The reason is because of the following day after Dynamite, I have work in the morning. I won't be able to do the review as soon as possible, release as soon as possible. So I'll try to do it before I head out to, of course, to go to work. But that'll be it. And also was considering also releasing the next Unagi Sayaka watch. I just got to review the event again before moving forward. So we'll go from there. Of course, I mean her self-produced show, because I did stated that I want to put that, redo it again, and see what we go from there. So hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you the next time. So I will see you guys on the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.